Tiramisu is an Italian dessert made with ladyfingers soaked in strong espresso and lightened with custard. I give mine a gourmet twist using hazelnut for the perfect texture. Hey guys, so first to get started, we need to make the coffee. So while we're making the coffee, now we're going to work on the custard. So we have 6 eggs, but we only need the yolks. So what I like to do is reserve my whites, because I love egg white omelets. So don't get rid of those whites. So pop your yolks right into a stand mixer. You want that fitted with your whisk attachment. Now, we're going to add the sugar. We're going to whisk it together for about 2 minutes. We want it to be light yellow. So just start slow and then just work your way up to high speed. Now you're going to reduce the speed. We have 2 tablespoons of our hot espresso. We're going to drizzle it in really slow. So this is going to cook our yolks. But we don't want to scramble them, so go slow. And then just quickly increase the speed. And then we have a little bit of frangelico, which is a hazelnut liqueur. Just a little dash in there, and we're going to add the remainder of our frangelica into our room temperature espresso that we have here in our bowl. That's for our ladyfingers. So our sugar and yolks have come together. Now it's time for the mascarpone. So mascarpone is basically an Italian cream cheese. Really, it's cream, and then it has this beautiful velvety texture, and it's classic in tiramisu. We're gonna add this little at a time, and you want it to be cold. Not too cold, but that way it doesn't break our custard. Little pinch of kosher salt, always great in baking. It just pulls everything together. So the key here, after adding the mascarpone cheese, is you want it to be smooth. All right, we're good to go. So I'm just gonna remove this to a bowl, and then we're gonna make a homemade whipped cream. But just save your bowl. We're just gonna scrape it out nice and clean. No need to add one more thing to wash. We can just wipe it out with a paper towel, and then we'll use it for our whipped cream. All right, so now for the whipped cream. So I have cold, heavy cream, and then we're just gonna whisk this till stiff peaks. About 2-3 minutes. So what this is going to do, after we make this whipped cream, we're going to fold it into our custard, and it's going to make it really light. So you want to make sure you don't deflate the whipped cream. So here's how we're going to fold it in. You just want to cut it right down the center, rotate the bowl, fold, cut down the center, fold, cut. And that way it keeps it light and airy and just completely combined. So you'll know you're good to go when you see no more white streaks. Okay, custard's good. Now it's time to assemble our tiramisu. So we have our cold espresso. So you want to make sure your espresso comes to room temperature, and some more of that frangelica. So we've got that hazelnut flavor in our custard and for our ladyfingers. There's 2 types of ladyfingers. You have the ones that are like little sponges, and then you have these that are more of a cookie with a sugared texture on one side. That's the one you want. And then when you dip it, really important, don't dredge it, don't soak it, don't dunk it. You're literally going in 1 second, flip, 1 second, done. They absorb so quick. any more, it makes it mushy. We want that little bit of crunch from the cookie. So I'm gonna work on all of our cookies here and then get this put together. So now we have in the bottom of the pan, we have our lady fingers lightly dipped in that espresso and frangelica. Now we're gonna add half of that creamy, delicious custard. You can just take your spatula. I love my offset. It always makes everything nice and perfectly iced. They're great when you're making cakes. All right, look at that. Looks good already. All right, edge to edge, you wanna make sure all that custard is filling and covering the lady fingers. So now for the cocoa. So you wanna take half of the cocoa. I have this little sift here, and then all the way over the surface, we wanna coat this. So I'm using Dutch processed cocoa. So there is a little bit of a difference between the cocoa you see in the grocery store, like your Hershey's, your Nestle. This is Dutch process. You probably can find this in your grocery store, specialty stores, online. There's a little bit of a difference. It's not as bitter. It's not acidic. It's more mellow in flavor and darker in color. So, can you use the other? Yes, this just tastes a little bit better. Okay, nothing but the best for you. All right, now, second layer. So we're doing this in 2 layers. So we're just gonna repeat what we did the first time. This baby is all about just assembling it. You can make this 4 to 6 hours ahead, which I strongly suggest. It needs that to develop all of the flavor. It will just get more flavorful as it sets. So now I'm gonna cover this, place this into the refrigerator. Let it marinate, let it do its thing, develop that great, great flavor. And then we're gonna eat tiramisu. So it's been 6 hours in the refrigerator, and you totally need that time for this dessert to come together. Let's give it a taste. So before you serve each piece, I have chopped up hazelnuts that I chopped up earlier. So I like to do this after I cut each piece. That way it holds its crunch. If you add it to the entire tiramisu, they'll then get a little soggy. Some chocolate over top, little extra chocolate, yum. So this is bittersweet chocolate. Gives it a little more depth, a nice little texture, and it looks so pretty. All right, I'm going in. You get that crunch from the hazelnuts. That's what I love about adding the hazelnuts. You have that awesome, just spongy texture from the tiramisu and that nice finish with the crunch from the hazelnuts. For this recipe, go over to the newspaper's website. I'm Shereen with Cook This. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.